meeting? Is that what?
I sent them.
I sent some.
Oh, I think.
Some notes.
I'm logged into that meeting now, yeah.
Oh, you should. There's stuff there for you.
I did, I'll probably discuss more of it.
Okay,
when you do
I'm gonna
it.
log out of my old BRPC email and into my new one.
Well, that's where it is.
It's in the memo.
Yeah, you're the candidate to take this away.
We have 59, so 1 minute. To be fair, okay?
Sure. Snacks and everything.
This is a high class operation. Man.
That's the first question. What snacks would you?
When would you?
So that's a key grant that we get on the regular basis.
And Laura, those are the questions.
Okay.
Okay, I see, here we are. Laura, welcome. You probably know myself. So the schedule is gonna be, we're gonna, be a hard stop at 45 minutes.
Okay.
And only the search committee will be asking questions and follow-ups. The others will not. Please respond completely succinctly to get through all 10 questions. This meeting is being recorded, and do you have any questions before we start?
I don't think so. Thank you.
Okay. You have stated in previously to the search committee, but there are others who do not know your background. Please take a few minutes to tell us about your professional self and your career. Include why you are interested in this position, and describe how this position fits within your overall career goals of professional advancement.
Okay. My career has been largely rooted in nonprofit work. In the 20 years that I have been in the Berkshires, that has included nonprofits of, a range of sizes and missions. I have worked with historic preservation, with outdoor recreation, with economic development related nonprofit work, and about a little over 8 years ago made the transition into the public sector realm when I came to BRPC. I found that to be a very smooth transition. A lot of the approaches that my nonprofit colleagues and I took to basically the business management side of things was very similar to what we do here. And as I learned and adopted the particular aspects of being in a public agency, it was, I think, an easy, smooth transition. And it was also something that I really embraced as I got here, the aspects of being in an environment like this where we're working with billable hours and we are adhering to the open meeting law and the planning law side of things. That has been something that I have embraced and enjoyed. The steps along the way have provided me with, I think, a fairly unique path to this work. Each of the positions that I have had have included quite a bit of responsibility, and at each organization that I was working at before BRPC, that responsibility increased and I was provided with the opportunity for more leadership. And so it has culminated in this chance to work here, and over the last nearly 3 years be serving as the assistant director. I think it's that exposure to the work of the executive director and the aspects that Tom has given me the opportunity to see and participate in that really makes me confident that this is a move I would like to make. I've had the opportunity to be a part of statewide discussions and organizations like MARPA, and other statewide discussions that have helped me to understand what it is to be the executive director of an RPA. And that exposure in practice has been a good opportunity to discern whether this is the right move. And so I feel confident that it is. Have I answered all the aspects of that question?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Next up, Sheila.
All right. Hi, Laura, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Could you please provide your vision of what BRPC should be in the next 5 years? And please include your thoughts about planning, implementation, service provision, and non-traditional RPA activities.
I think we're at a great time to be looking at this as an agency. We have started to dip our toe in the water of some strategic planning as a leadership group with the program managers. And although we have necessarily been in somewhat of a reactive mode for, well, since the onset of the pandemic, I think it is a very good moment for us to be looking at a less reactive and more responsive kind of mindset. And that speaks to the vision that I would hope that I share with my colleagues, which is to internally become more cohesive, to work cross-departmentally more regularly and with more confidence. And then externally to really start to embody the vision that BRPC has for itself, which is to be that indispensable, reliable source of information and support. And I think that we have made some great steps in the last several years towards that. We have done so much to better collaborate with more than just municipalities, with so many of the wonderful nonprofits that we have in our region and for-profit entities. And I think that if you look at the programs and the projects that we have successfully implemented in the last several years, we have gotten much, much better at collaboration, true collaboration and partnership. And that is something that I would like to build upon. I see us as really poised to play a strong role in some more formal relationships throughout the region that could benefit the municipalities who are interested in participating, whether that be shared services or looking at unique grant opportunities that we wouldn't be necessarily competitive for by ourselves, any of us. And so I think that the thematic tie for my vision, which I believe is shared by a lot of folks throughout the region, is just continuing to work at the speed of relationships in being more cohesive and really finding ways to strengthen the region together.
Thanks. And to kind of in that frame, given that the financial structure is basically grants, the federal government has been withdrawing some of its interest in being part of that. What ideas do you have for expanding funding opportunities?
Well, I think we are already teed up to make more of our nonprofit arm with Berkshire's Tomorrow already established. I would like to see us take a closer look at that and find ways to refine its statement of purpose, to develop a mission statement, to look at ways that that mechanism can help to diversify our revenue. I think that we have, over the last several years, particularly with pandemic response efforts, had our eyes open to the potential of Berkshire's Tomorrow, as a tool that we should be using more. And so I would like to see that be a big part of how we handle the volatility of government funding.
Thank you.
Any other follow-ups? Kyle, your question.
Me. Hi Laura, how are you?
Oh, wow, how are you?
I'm doing good. The executive director plays many roles. Describe your approaches in the following situations and describe how they might be different and provide brief examples if possible. These are such long, intricate questions.
That's okay. At least I have them in front of
And
me.
you have that list of, you have the list in front of you, working with legislatures to advance BRPC's working goals, working with state agencies, municipal officials,
Mhm.
nonprofits and community groups, and the press.
Press, okay. Okay, so I have also, over the last several years, have had some good practice working with our delegation to advance not just BRPC's working goals, but regional goals. And so I want to stress that we, yes, need to not be shy about asking for resources and seeking out resources that support the work of BRPC, but also really advocate for those things that are priorities for the region. And I have been able to do both in the time that I have worked here so far. Requesting and securing earmarks for projects in the state budget. Really making the most of all of the state programs for which we are eligible as an agency. And then making sure to loop in the elected officials so that they can provide their advocacy and support behind the scenes or with letters of support, whatever it may be. And in the same vein, doing that kind of work with our federal delegation, connecting and staying in touch with staff so that they understand what's happening at BRPC, what we are working on in the immediate term, and also what we could achieve with support and partnership. And so I think that is, to me, that's about regular communication and trying to ensure that you're not spending time, whether your own or the staffers or the legislators' time, catching them up to what BRPC is about. But making sure that the agency is more top of mind for all of that. It's not easy work. And we are often head down doing the work. And so I would liken it to a small business owner needing to not just work in their business, but work on their business. And part of working on our business is telling our story and making sure that we make more of our reputation. Working with state agencies, also something that we all here do very often, whether that be in applying for grants and then dealing with the reporting responsibilities of those, or working in partnership with state agencies. We've had a great opportunity over the last year to serve as consultants to the state because BRPC created the Berkshires Outside website, which digests all of the outdoor recreation opportunities in the region and provides a user-friendly way to learn about those. And we've become the envy of the Commonwealth with that. And so a newly established state organization, the Mass Office of Outdoor Recreation, has hired us to help other regions do a similar kind of project. And so I think has been a great experience in sort of playing on the same field with state employees and having it be a two-way street, not always being the recipient of technical assistance or funding, but also demonstrating that RPAs can be a source of that, even in this hierarchical sort of stream. Working with municipal officials, this I have had such a wonderful opportunity to do through the sort of hyper-local work that is part of economic development. And that has included assisting a couple of municipalities in seeking out and securing designations as cultural districts. And that is a whole of community effort. It includes involvement from town staff, from town elected officials, from stakeholders in the for-profit and nonprofit realms. And that has really provided a great chance to work almost as like a temporary staff member of a town, and helping them achieve their goals. And that was something that I was able to jump right into when I arrived at BRPC many years ago. And it gave me immediate exposure into sort of the balance that all of our municipal officials have to carry as they're managing so many competing interests and priorities. I also had the opportunity to go through the Suffolk University and in partnership with MMA program around public administration, and that provided a great exposure to the realities of what day-to-day life is for those working in municipalities. Gave me a real appreciation for the different roles and how they interact with one another, and introduced me to a lot of people who are in those roles here in the Berkshires, and just broadened my network of people that I can work with and know better how to support now, I think, than I did before I went through that program. Working with nonprofits and community groups, definitely have a long track record in that realm. Because I come from the nonprofit world, I have a lot of relationships already established throughout the Berkshires with our nonprofit partners, and also more loosely defined community groups. And I think that's also something that we have made some good inroads into here over the last several years, as we work on the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy, or CEDS, for Berkshire County. That was an enormous priority of ours to make sure that the outreach that we did and the input that we gathered was not from only the usual suspects, but community groups that were emerging in a lot of different corners of the region and with a lot of different missions of their own, and try to encompass and embrace as many voices as we could in that. And I think that BRPC's just really across the board, the program areas that are under our roof have also done a tremendous job of getting better and better at that. And I think of the public health staff and the ways that they have been creative in identifying who they need to hear from before they even apply for a grant, let alone try and implement the dollars, and really make sure that it's to the benefit of our community. And again, not just about BRPC's intentions or goals. Working with the press, also something that I'm very comfortable with. I have been in communications and marketing. That has been an aspect of my job for a long time. I served as the marketing and operations director at Hancock Shaker Village when I was in that chapter of my nonprofit history. And that was where I really learned the different skill sets and tasks of communicating with the press, but I've been able to practice and hone those in several different roles since. And on behalf of BRPC, I have helped to better establish a visual brand, to look at our messaging, all of our communication tools, whether it's our website or our social media channels, social media accounts, or the printed materials that we put out into the world, so that there's a consistent brand and voice with which we are speaking, even though we have so much range of the kinds of topics that we have to be conversant in. So I'm comfortable both working with the press in a sort of traditional sense of issuing press releases and doing follow-up and doing what would be expected in that realm, but also trying to prompt and guide some of the stories that we want to get out there, and for the benefit of just really making sure that people know what we're doing and how we can help. So.
Thank you.
Follow-ups, John?
Hi, Laura.
Hi.
How will you spend your first 6 months in the executive director's position? Explain what your strategy will be and how you plan to implement it. And include how you would reach out to the 32 municipalities to acquaint yourself with their needs. What are the 3 most important things you would want each municipality to take away from that initial meeting?
Again, this is a lot of questions. It's okay. Oh, the first 6 months, I think, with an internal transition, it's extremely important to reset expectations around my role, how I interact with my colleagues, with other members of the team here. And I think that it would be very important to spend some really quality time with each of the program managers and then with each of their teams to talk about, so that I can get up to speed on what their day-to-day is. We're all working towards our own goals internally and often working in fairly well-defined groups. And so getting some better understanding of what my teammates have been working on, what they're working towards, and making sure that I hear from them what their needs are, what their concerns are, and really absorb a lot and listen a lot. And also share with them what my intentions are, what my expectations are, and go from there. That's, I think, the internal side. There's also some moving around to do, and looking at roles within the economic development program, looking at how we would configure the administrative team in terms of an assistant director. And then also hopefully simultaneously looking outward and trying to communicate with the municipalities, both the town managers and administrators, who I think most have a great handle on how we can help already, but just making sure to solidify those relationships, and the select boards and planning boards, many of whom I think know us a bit less, at least the select boards, and going out and doing some more listening and sharing of what I believe we can offer and how they could be taking advantage of us more, frankly. So I think that's, I'm not sure I'd get anything else done now that I'm describing that. I think it's important for as many of those conversations, especially in the towns, to happen in person as possible. And so that would be a good amount of time on the road, which I would want to balance with making sure that I'm available to staff who are going through a change that, you know, they need to have confidence in.
Thank you. Next question is up for, questions.
Hi, Lauren.
Hi.
You know, BRPC's policy body consists of representatives of municipalities. You also know that many of the delegates and ordinance do not come to meetings or participate in the commission's activities and goals. How do we engage the towns more fully?
Mhm.
Like this is a new topic.
Right. I think that, you know, I'm all about efficiency. So some of those meetings where I'm going out to talk about BRPC and what we can offer are also good opportunities to be inviting and to make sure everybody's on the same page about just the logistics of involvement in the commission. I had some insight this past year because I was assisting with the process of, you know, finding out who the new delegate and the new alternates were from different communities, and some trial and error in our outreach and just chasing down those names. And it's in the flurry of communication that everybody is experiencing, it can be a hard thing to explain exactly how this model works. It's unique, and there are a changing cast of characters in communities, oftentimes in the ones that could benefit the most from more stability. And so really just taking the time to make sure that there's a good understanding of the mechanics of how to be involved, what our regional planning law says about how to engage with the commission, and then what that can do for the town. And I think many of the planning board members who do participate do have a good understanding of why and what they can get out of it. But I don't think others in those communities have a good sense, and in select board members in particular. So I'd really like to try and get us to engage those groups more. And also try to have as much, make myself and our program managers as available to delegates and alternates as possible. Knowing that we have constraints around our time and our ability to do that outreach, but really trying to frame ourselves, not that this isn't done, but more overtly as a resource for them individually, so that they begin to see this as the vision says, is indispensable.
Do we have enough to offer? Does BRPC have enough to offer to the small hill towns to make them, to make BRPC, or to make what we offer attractive to them?
I believe we do. I believe we have to be careful to think about it as a scalable set of technical assistance tools, so that we're not overwhelming anyone, and that we are more thoughtful about how to make some of our programs or our offerings palatable at a small scale, and realize that people are in any community are dealing with a huge range of responsibilities and obligations. But that, we can offer assistance in a way that makes sense for whatever size community needs it, whether large or small. And just be mindful about how we might need to adjust our approach when we're dealing with part-time staff, or we're dealing with boards that may meet as needed as opposed to on a regular basis, and just be respectful of those models.
Right. You got the next one too?
We've experienced a lot of growth in the last few years, but it's not guaranteed. And if we do face a period of where we have to downsize, how would you approach that?
Yes, it has been rapid. I've been at BRPC for, I think, the stretch of time where we grew most rapidly over our history. And that has been amazing for the potential that it shows, and for the opportunities that has provided us to be nimble in the services that we provide and the way that we provide them. It's also been, as I mentioned, reactive mode. And we have outgrown, I think, some of the administrative models that we use. And over the last year or so have been working on, has not been an easy road for any of us, but working on adopting some tools to work more efficiently in this office setting or in this hybrid setting. But I think that what our business model, if we want to call it that, lends itself to is scalability, and the ability to retract if and as needed. It's not something I think any of us hope for, but we're probably better positioned to scale up and down than most either nonprofits or for-profits, because of the consultant model, the billable hours model that we have. And I think that the challenge there is to deal with, if that were to be the case, to lessen the impact as much as possible, to be as creative as we can in making sure that staff have the opportunity to learn other program areas or departments if that's of interest to them, rather than actually reducing staff, to see if, we often have ebbs and flows where one program is extremely busy and overworked and another program may not be. And can we think of ourselves more holistically and as a team where our staff are nimble enough to learn new sort of disciplines of planning. We have demonstrated already in the last several years that people can do that, are eager to do that, and enjoy doing that. So I would hope that we would look at approaches along those lines before simply retracting. So I think that's an important aspect. We also, I think, as program managers, will need over the next, in general, it shouldn't just be in times of uncertainty. We should be projecting out into future fiscal years a bit more assertively, and looking at grant opportunities and modeling ways that we can continue at current size or current capacity. We've also, over the last several years, embraced some projects and some initiatives that I don't think any of us saw coming. Um, digital equity being one of them, that was not on anyone's radar. Certainly when I got to BRPC as a planning discipline. And we embraced it. We got great at it. And we offered a lot of value to the communities that participated in any of the digital equity work. So I think we also have to be really willing to learn new skills, learn new areas of work that are responsive to what's happening in the world. And think of it as a way for us to evolve as an agency. We've already gotten so far beyond what I think a lot of people think of as traditional land use planning. And that's one of the things that I love about BRPC, that we, the general public may not realize it, but we have our hands in so many things that are improving the quality of life for people here in the Berkshires and making it an even greater place for people to visit too. And so I would hope that we would continue that mindset.
Thank you. Next one up is Laura.
Laura. As it's currently structured, BRPC has strong program areas. How do you plan to work with the program managers? Where would you give program managers autonomy and independence? And where would you need or want to be involved in any decision making? How would you evaluate program managers, especially in their interactions with municipalities? And then describe this. This has a lot in it. Describe the most successful measurement you would use if you help the program improve performance shortfalls.
And we're at the 10-minute platform.
10 minutes left. Okay. I noticed that there are 10 questions, but really there are 55.
Who's got it?
Yeah. Yes, we do. We have strong program areas. I think one of the things I'm looking forward to the most is working one-on-one with program managers more. I have not had that opportunity except in the cases where a project that I'm working on is a partnership with another program area. So I've had some chance to like team up with another program manager, but not in most cases. So really getting to learn how I can support the public health program managers, the transportation program manager, and others in what they're doing so that I can do a better job of seeing the connections and encouraging overlap. You know, we've again sort of dipped our toe into that, and it has been beneficial, has been, you know, we've learned things and done things that I don't think we would have without those kinds of interdepartmental opportunities. But I'd like to see that happen more, while recognizing that we have the constraints of our particular projects that need to be handled and executed. I think we already enjoy, as program managers, a lot of autonomy and independence. I have said to many people when they ask me what the work environment here is like, that one of the things I appreciate is that Tom treats us like adults. We are respected and given a lot of space to go after the projects that we feel are most important, that are going to fit with our other work, that are responsive to the needs of the community and the priorities of the community. And so I would want to continue that approach while still wanting to learn as much as I can, because I feel that I can help sort of tout the successes and the value of BRPC. Even better if I can get a bit more intimate with the specific work that each program area is doing. Oh, you said 10 minutes, I should wrap it. Should we move on through some others, or do you want me to continue on with that?
I think we're good. Let's
Okay,
move
sure.
on to Mary Beth, please.
Sure. Hey Laura. Would you cite specific examples of how you build and sustain an agency that works as a team, especially in an era of teleworking? And just briefly, what's the single most important trait you value in an employee, and how would you recruit and retain good staff at every level?
Are you looking for an external example of another agency?
No, I think building and sustaining the agency, working as a team.
Oh, I see.
RPC.
Okay,
Especially since teleworking has become an
yeah,
important component. of
yeah.
that.
It has been, I think, a real mixed bag for us, moving into a hybrid environment. And it's a challenge to build culture when many of us do not see one another face to face on a regular basis. I think we're extremely fortunate that we have a great existing team of staff at BRPC who respect one another and really like one another and are excited when they have the opportunity to work on something together. We are, I think, by and large, a group that works extremely well independently. We have to be. But we also have strong sense of that it can be rewarding and fun to team up and work together. So I would really want to try and find ways to encourage that. And the extent possible to get to know one another better. We have started to incorporate icebreakers into the beginnings of many of our meetings, and it's kind of funny because we have often, in most cases, we've been working together for quite a long time, but those little simple silly questions at the beginning of a meeting have gone so far and contributed so much into our comfort level with one another. And so I don't think that there's some like silver bullet to building better culture. I think it's a lot of small things along the way. And again, being methodical and thoughtful and realizing that it can take a long time. But I think what I would like to see is just a collective. It's not just somebody in a leadership role, but everybody sort of chiming in with ways to build better relationship amongst the staff. The single most important trait that I value in an employee. I think being a problem solver, not looking for someone else to give them the answers, but when they come up against a struggle, looking for ways to get over it, get around it, get under it, whatever it may be. And really just having that confidence that that's part of their role, not just to do what they're told, but to find ways to do their tasks successfully. And that takes, again, being infused with confidence from their supervisors and knowing that they are encouraged to try different things. So I think that is what I would say I value the most. How would I recruit and retain good staff at all levels? We have been doing a lot of work on our recruitment approaches and our retention. And one of those strategies is to recognize that a lot of times, I'm certainly an example of this. There are transferable skills from other industries and other backgrounds that can breathe fresh life into planning. And so I would want to be open to people who are willing to shapeshift into becoming a planner, but also that they would bring with them the things that they, the tools that they have used in their previous roles, that can innovate and impact planning, in a positive way.
Mary Beth, you have the next one also?
Okay, what's been the most challenging professional or personal interaction that you've dealt with? And did you learn anything from how that transpired that would inform future personnel interactions?
Hmm. I had a supervisor that did not, that wanted to coach me in a way that wasn't effective. We just had different styles of a reporting relationship, what was gonna work, what was not gonna work. And it was a real detriment to my ability to deliver on the tasks that I had in front of me. It was a distraction to a job that I really enjoyed and believed in. And I think my mistake was not speaking up and identifying and naming that problem that I was experiencing daily, that we were not speaking the same language and we were not using the same tools to try and move our organization forward. And I think that that's something I definitely want to be very mindful of in whatever role I play, that I get to know and understand someone's needs and clearly communicate my own needs, so that the working relationships can work. And not everybody likes the same leadership style. And I think different leadership styles are appropriate at different moments. We all recognize that. But on a regular day-to-day, long-term basis, what are the needs and what's gonna make it work? So.
Thank you. Thank you. That brings us to our end of our 45 minutes. Thank you very much. So the search committee is gonna meet this week. And we're gonna discuss this, and I'm not sure if there'll be a single recommendation or how we'll do it. Then the full commission on March 19th will vote on the candidate. And if you were selected, if the commission selects you, how soon could you assume the position? And also, if there's something that was not mentioned in this interview, at the bottom of that sheet is an email address, limited page, and if we get it by Monday, 5 o'clock.
Okay,
Okay. Thank you very much.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Laura.
You're welcome.
Hopefully you do want to.